The Consumer Protection Act, Goods and Services. The consumer's right of choice. The consumer has the right to choose and also, in certain instances, the right to change his or her mind. Section 13. Bundling and the consumer's right to select suppliers. Bundling happens when a supplier makes it a condition of a transaction that the consumer, who is buying one type of goods or services, must also buy another type of goods or services from the same or another supplier. Bundling of goods or services is generally not allowed unless the supplier can show that the convenience to the consumer is greater than the limitation on the consumer's right of choice, or if there is an economic benefit for the consumer, or if the bundled goods or services are offered and priced individually. Examples of bundling include where a supplier of printers makes it impossible for a consumer to buy only the printer and forces the consumer to buy ink cartridges as well, or where a consumer has to conclude an additional contract together with the agreement he has already made, where a consumer must agree to purchase any goods or services from a third party, or where a consumer is also obliged to take out a maintenance contract when buying a product. Section 18. The consumer's right to examine goods. Consumers have the right to pick and choose from goods that are openly displayed. Consumers are only liable for loss or damage to goods on display if caused by gross negligence, wild or criminal behavior. If goods are bought based on a description or sample, the supplier must deliver goods that correspond with that description in every way. Section 19. Delivery of goods and supply of services. It is the supplier's responsibility to deliver the goods or perform the service on the agreed date and time and at the agreed place of delivery, such as the supplier's business premises. If no agreement is reached on delivery details, then it becomes a part of every transaction and the supplier's responsibility to deliver the goods or perform the services within a reasonable time after the deal with the customer is concluded. The supplier remains responsible for the goods until they have been delivered to the consumer. The moment of delivery happens when a customer's actions or conduct communicate that he or she has accepted the delivery. For example, the supplier places the goods on the shop counter and the customer pays, picks up the goods and walks off with them. B. The consumer does anything with the goods that is inconsistent with the supplier's ownership of them. For example, the consumer eats the goods if it is food or wears it in the case of clothing. C. The consumer keeps the goods for longer than reasonable without telling the supplier that he or she does not want them. The right to check goods. Before accepting any delivery of goods, the consumer has the right to inspect them to make sure that they are the type and quality agreed upon. Changes to the place, time or delivery of goods or performance of services. The consumer can insist on receiving delivery of goods on the agreed date and time and at the agreed place. If the supplier does not deliver as agreed, the consumer may cancel the contract. Delivery of larger quantities of goods than ordered. If the supplier delivers more than the consumer ordered, the consumer can reject the delivery or only accept and pay for the amount he actually ordered. Delivery of mixed goods. If the quantity of goods delivered are as agreed upon, but are mixed with other goods that the consumer did not order, the consumer can accept delivery of the goods that were agreed upon and reject the rest, or he can reject the whole order.